There's probably not a company in the world that doesn't want to be as well run and efficient as possible. Yet, when it comes to deciding whether or not to take on professional management, many firms shy away from investing, using budgetary concerns as their excuse. If you own a small business and you've ever found yourself pondering this question, it might be time to rethink your approach to management and hiring. This is Guma Channel, and today we're here to answer every entrepreneur's early phase question: can we afford professional management? One, cost-benefit analysis. You might have heard an argument that went somewhere along these lines: hire a $1 million man only if they can earn or save you $10 million. The idea is that employees are an investment. They should either net you or save you more than it costs to hire and train them. Basically, as long as the cost outweighs the benefits, go ahead and make the hire. But is this really the right way to think about employment? Well, yes and no. It's true that just because you're spending money on something doesn't mean it's a cost that you should try to minimize. Opting for the cheaper, less skilled manager or an affordable yet mediocre software subscription might feel good in the short run, but it's likely to cost you more over time. The old saying is true: you get what you pay for. In reality, it's impossible to quantify precisely how much revenue a particular manager is going to bring in. So how can you carry out an accurate cost-benefit analysis? You can't. However, you can stretch your budget to afford the best manager you can get and make sure you implement processes to help everyone in your team do their job as effectively as possible. 2. Segregation of duties. So, what kind of processes, you may ask? When you're a small business, one of the most important strategies you can employ is the segregation of duties. This is all about ensuring everyone in the company has a fixed role they can stick to, instead of everyone trying to do everything. To ensure segregation, put the following strategies into practice. Leave tasks related to sensitive information to more senior employees. Make sure nobody performs every stage of banking process or has access to all the passwords. Get everyone in the company used to safeguarding processes and regular checks. Request reports from critical areas like payroll and budget. And don't sign anything before reading and verifying it first. This is also a key to avoid bookkeeping complications. Did you know that businesses with 100 employees or less are more likely to experience fraud? So the fewer people who have access to sensitive information, the better. 3. Micromanaging versus bird's eye view. Theories like cost-benefit analysis and segregation of duties are useful places to start, but to fine-tune your organization, you might want to bring on professional help for your management. If you're trying to perform and control every aspect of your business, that should be your hint. At the end of the day, nobody likes a micromanager. We've all had that negative experience with a boss who insists on overseeing tasks, listening in on client calls, even proofreading emails. Okay, maybe not the last one. But does that mean that managers should just delegate everything to their employees and turn a blind eye? Not at all. There's a third option, and it's called taking a bird's eye view. If you're not sold already, how would you feel if I told you that none other than Amazon uses this strategy? Get familiar with the bird's eye view. Modern companies are adopting a more specialized structure, with workers performing extremely specific roles within an organization and having little understanding of anything else. The world has gone this way for a reason. It's more efficient for one person to perform a role they understand inside and out than to do a mediocre job of 1,000 different things. Yet it also has some unwelcome consequences, especially when it comes to management. How can a manager guide their team through their roles if they barely understand what they're all doing? They probably couldn't even micromanage if they wanted to. That's where a bird's eye view approach comes in, where managers have a comprehensive understanding of the roles everyone is performing, but they don't intervene directly with each and every task. Now, how can we learn from how Amazon implements this approach? You'd struggle to find a better example of this strategy than Amazon. The company appreciates that managers are hardly in a good position to tell their lower-level employees what to do if they don't even understand what their jobs involve. So, they came up with a unique yet effective solution. Every employee has to work at the customer service desk for 2 days a year. Yep, that includes the CEO. This might sound bizarre at first, but the logic is flawless. At the customer service desk, employees become exposed to real problems that Amazon customers encounter every day, allowing them to gain a greater understanding of the whole business and not just their niche specialism. Genius, right? And make sure no job is too big or too small for you. Using the exact solution of Amazon might not be feasible for every organization, but why not adopt something in the same spirit? If all your employees understand the rest of the team's role and feel a greater connection to the company as a whole, you might just unlock something magical. Trust us, we've seen it firsthand after helping many companies hone their business operations and management skills. 4. Founders' tangled choice: to CEO or not to CEO. Most founders became entrepreneurs because they're passionate about what they're creating, the problem they're solving, and working for themselves. You might think this leads to the natural goal of remaining the CEO until the end of time, yet many successful founders decide to step down from their role, or never take it up in the first place. Bill Gates is a key example. He stepped down as Microsoft CEO back in 2000. There's no right or wrong answer here. It largely depends on the company's aims and the founder's personality. But you can certainly use the following considerations to help you reach a conclusion. Understand the life cycle of a company. Unless they're blessed with 7-figure investments from the get-go, most startups begin with just a handful of unpaid founders as the sole employees. Or maybe they're even a one-person operation. In that case, the roles of a founder and a CEO are inseparable. Yet as a company develops and expands, it reaches a new place in its life cycle. Operations shift from developing products, pitching to early investors, and winning over initial clients to thinking about more long-term strategies and making hires. Given that the CEO's role changes so drastically, it only seems natural that the person who carries the job should also change. Now, let's consider the skill set of a CEO versus a founder. Even if you accept that a CEO's responsibility changes as a company grows, you might be thinking that there's no reason the same person can't navigate both roles. Granted, a few people can, but they're certainly in the minority. The CEO of a brand new startup is a true entrepreneur. They must be bold, comfortable navigating uncertainty, and prepared to fake it until they make it. Yet as a company matures, this type of personality becomes a potential risk to the business's long-term health. See the dilemma? Also, there's a risk from the rise of the cult figure. We want to give you a balanced view of whether stepping down as a CEO is a smart idea, so let's play devil's advocate. What if the days of CEOs representing a safe pair of hands are long gone, and ambitious young visionaries have taken their place? There are certainly some clear examples of this trend. Just look at figures like Elon Musk, who remains the CEO of Tesla. It's easy to argue that the company wouldn't have been nearly as successful at attracting customers and investment without his influence. But the power of a cult figure like Musk shouldn't come at the expense of doing things properly. So, what's the right decision for you? As you should now be able to appreciate, for the question of to CEO or not to CEO is a tricky one. It's highly dependent on the development stage of the company and the personality of the founder. Anyway, we've seen firsthand what a huge impact the right or the wrong CEO can have. So, can you afford professional management? Don't let history repeat itself.
Thank you for listening to Gemma Consult. If you liked the show, make sure to subscribe right now so you're first to hear new episodes. With new motivation on how to take your entrepreneurial dreams to the next level. We're here to help each other grow to new heights. If you know an entrepreneur who would benefit from the support of our community, please share the show with them. Thanks for listening.